Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump, from the deep into the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
Yeah,
Ooh, I'm glad this dude came back up, and we had to knock this out again. This is a last minute conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Testicles 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back to Paranoid Radio Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Trebles Garcia, your humble host. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Yo, guess what? We are on YouTube. Yes, we are on YouTube. You want me to scream it louder into the freaking mic? Ladies and gentlemen, check us out on YouTube today. If you can't find the link and you, for some reason, can't go to the search bar and spend 5 seconds searching Paranoid Radio on YouTube, you could just go to the description of the show, go to paranoidradio.com, click on YouTube, and enjoy watching us talk some shit to each other. Oh, yeah. Make sure you check us out. Check out the affiliations with Flavors of the Forest. Mad shout-outs to Amy from Beauty Bombed for the beautiful gift she gave me recently and for connecting me with Flash. Also, mad shout-outs to Ali Christine from Make Kids Healthy Again because I am getting dewormed. Today, I'm on my 6th day of taking the medicine that she sent me, and it's like a $200 value, bro. And I'm telling you right now, my gut feels great. I have no heartburn. I'm not bloated anymore. I haven't shitted out any critters, but I'm looking forward to it to see what the hell I have inside of me. But if I don't, I'm also thanking God for it, you know? Anyway, so make sure you check us out, guys. And do not forget to check us out at paranoidradio.com and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify because that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Oh, yeah. All right, let's jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the fucking mood. Today, I'm bringing back into the freaking mic on a second dose of greatness, Ryley Watson from the Midwest Mythos podcast. What's up, big dog?
what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. Good to see you again, dude. I'm glad that you didn't get offended the first time I told you like we need to do it again. I probably wasted your time, but at the end of the day, bro, exactly what I always say this is it's not only gonna sound good on our show, it's gonna sound good for you because people are gonna know what you bring to the table. You get me? So let it be natural this time. How you doing,
Oh, yeah.
bro?
Oh man, I'm doing good. And yeah, man, thanks for bringing me back. I appreciate that. Like, that shows the quality of your character and like what you got going on here by doing that, man. Because
Thank you.
most people would just put it out there and just say, "Oh, it is what it is, man." But you reached out and was like, "Hey, man, we can do this better," and
Mhm.
we going to. It's gonna be
Oh yeah.
a lot less reading this time, a lot more talking, man. The fun stuff, the stuff people like to hear.
Yeah, I do. Believe me, the research just starts flowing out after you get a little warmed up. But I want to know something. What's the name of the podcast? Where can people find you? What made you start podcasting, bro?
All right. Well, name of the show, Midwest Mythos. You can find it anywhere as Midwest Mythos Podcast. If you want me on the Instagram, just straight up Midwest Mythos. YouTube, Midwest Mythos Podcast, and all your podcast players, Midwest Mythos Podcast. And if you didn't get it the first couple times I said it, Midwest Mythos Podcast. So, yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
What made me really want to get into podcasting, man, is I've been into this kind of stuff, the fringe, the conspiracies, the cryptids, all that good stuff ever since I was a young boy. Like, I'm talking like 3 or 4. I was super afraid of everything when I was a kid. My parents thought I was the biggest baby on the entire planet.
Mhm.
And they were shocked when I said I want to do this kind of stuff. But I just got enthralled with it. I've had some personal experiences in life and just meeting some people, and God lined me up with the right people in my life to make this a possibility. Everybody was like, "Ryley, man, you need to start a podcast. That's all you listen to any day is
Mhm.
podcasts. So why not start one?" And God provided the people in my life to get me rocking and rolling. So we're going on 1 year here next month of this bad boy show, and
Ooh,
it's
1 year. That's great.
yeah, man. I'm incredibly blessed, thankful for all the amazing people God's put in my life through it too. I've
Mhm.
learned so much, and I have a lot of fun with it too. I ain't gonna lie. because I get to talk about stuff like we is tonight.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Matt, shoutouts too from Cryptid Warfare podcast. Drewski has slowly been becoming one of my number one networking buddies, dude. He is not only a great podcast host, but he is also rocking with fire, and he has a very humble, a very giving heart. He connected me with you and connected me with many other podcasters out there right now, and I'm only blessed to have him in my life. And yo, Drewski, this one's out to you, bro. So we have to kick ass now. All right, Riley.
Yeah, man. Drewski the GOAT, man. God bless that man.
Yeah, man, for real. You have some information regarding the Michigan Triangle. Now, look, bro. The first time we spoke about this, it was like a first try. See what we're gonna bring in. So we're gonna hit this shit running. We're gonna hit the floor running today, bro. The Michigan Triangle, bro, is probably one of the most overlooked triangles in the freaking planet. And it's funny because everybody talks about triangles. Everybody's obsessed with freaking triangles. The Pyramid Triangles, the Golden Triangle. We have the Bermuda Triangle. And today we're bringing in one of the biggest triangles in the freaking planet. In fact, I think it's one of the most impactful ones and underrated. The more death, the most disappearances. Go ahead, bro. Bring it in.
All right, man. Like you said, we getting into that Lake Michigan Triangle. So this has been a topic that has enthralled me for years because I actually live one town over from one of the points growing up. So the triangle, it's a triangle. So, you got your 3 points. You got your 1 point in Ludington, Michigan. The next one, Benton Harbor, Michigan. That's the one I grew up right next to. And then you got Manitoba, Wisconsin. And in this triangle, there is mass amounts of death. There is mass amount of disappearances. Strangeness, high strangeness. Like you said, man. And people are sleeping on it. I have not heard anybody talk about this. So, I'm going to give you some examples of some of the stuff that's happening. We'll get back into it. So, the first one I've read about in a couple books, read some articles. It was the case of the Rosabella, and this takes place in the early 20s. So, it was this ship that was coming from up north. They were trying to bring some lumber down to Benton Harbor for the House of David. The whole entire crew is sitting there. They're going to build heaven on earth. The House of David, man, it's wild. But we can get into that here in a minute. So, they're bringing all this lumber in, and then all of a sudden, everything just disappears. A couple days later, there's nothing. People are like, man, where'd this go? So they send out this massive search party, and all they can find is debris. So they start asking all these other ships around, hey, did you guys collide with anything? Possibly not even see anything? And they're like, no, but there's all this smashed stuff out there, but there was no storms, which is surprising over Lake Michigan because we get some of the worst storms.
Word.
It's pretty nasty out there. So every single member of the crew just disappeared, and to this day they still have no idea what happened. They'll find little fragments of the ship places, but there's no definitive answer of what happened. They called in ferry companies from Wisconsin. They had people from Chicago, obviously people from Michigan out there looking. And I mean, it's a big area, but I mean, it's not like you're scanning the ocean for this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was the 20s, but they had all these trade routes going across.
Word.
There's some pretty good connections. You would be able to. There's plenty of ships and freighters out there that they would be able to ask, hey man, did you see this? Did you hit this? Somebody would have probably seen something. It's not like it was we're going off course to some place to try to make a new shortcut. We're trying to be the next Magellan and find a way through South America. No, it's Lake Michigan. It's pretty much straight shots everywhere you go. All the ports. So that one's just weird to me, man. I know a lot of people speculate there's sea monsters out there, there's aliens or storms, but I haven't heard anything about it being stormy. That's when we get into some of the other stories. If there was a big storm or something, they would have mentioned it because they talk about storms. They have to report all this stuff as they're going because they're on the timeline. So storm's definitely going to slow you down. So
But to its defense, sorry if I interrupted, you mentioned the last time we spoke that Michigan, or at least that area, that region of the country, is some of the most unpredictable weather patterns.
yes. So although they are unpredictable, if one came through, you're gonna know about it, and everybody and their brother's gonna know about it. It's not like they're little patches. I mean, they can come out of nowhere, but
Mhm.
you're definitely gonna know about it afterwards, because
Mhm.
they tend to like to make their way to the lake shore, and when they
Mhm.
do, they like to slam down.
Yeah, I hear you. That's
So,
incredible. Just to
yeah,
give it to more context, guys, you're cooking with fire compared to the first time you came in. You're cooking with fire, bro. I love the presentation, and that it's because you're not reading it. It's because you're just flowing with your emotion. I love that. But now I'm gonna bring in some numbers just to a little, just to amplify. This is gonna be a great fucking episode. Sorry if I'm cursing out here, but guys, just to put in some context, so you guys just imagine this: the Bermuda Triangle has almost estimated over 1,200 shipwrecks and 27 plane crashes throughout its documented history. But the Michigan Triangle has the Michigan area alone, just that part of the triangle alone, not the entire Great Lakes, only that part, the little corner that Ryley mentioned, has 15 to 1,700 shipwrecks. It almost doubles it. That is huge. How does this go under the radar and not be more talked about within our community and on the mainstream? You know, it's incredible.
yeah, man. One of the only things I can think about with that is because it is such a major shipping line. Well, especially it used to be such a major shipping line. I don't think they want to scare people, man, because tourism floats this whole entire thing. Like everything, we didn't even talk about this last time. So every town, so I grew up in some hillbilly town over Benton Harbor. It's got a tourist side and then a straight up hood. Like you don't go messing around there unless you know the place. But then everything else around us, these multi-million dollar tourist homes, and you got people from coming from Chicago, you got people coming from Poland, you got people coming from all over the world, have these multi-million dollar mansions and stuff around there, and they don't want to lose those people thinking, oh, well, if I go out here, this is gonna happen, or hey, if I'm out here, I'm gonna see UFOs, because they try to play stuff off out here as drones and stuff, and we can get more. We'll with the next story, we'll get more into the UFO side of things too, but there's so much tourism and stuff. I think they just don't want to scare people. And then
It's a great point. It's a great point. We've seen things like that happened in many areas. In fact, I live in LA, and LA is a UFO hotbed. And you know why we don't witness UFOs as much as we used to in the 1920s? It's because of um it's called light pollution. So, and plus, it's a smart city.
Mhm.
Nowadays, we spend more time looking at our phones, walking around like zombies instead of keeping our eye in the sky. And you could hashtag look that up, guys. The most important thing about living in LA is having a social presence, believe it or not. And the only social presence you can get is using this fucking device here that's part of your body and you cannot live without. And now, why does that even how is that important? Is because people get poured in. You got Hollywood, you got the lights, you got freaking, you got Disney, you got all these places that light up the sky and then cover up the real lights beyond. Right? I would say aliens.
Yeah. And that's probably why. Well, that's what actually really surprising for this area. That I mean, we got a little bit of light pollution, but it's real easy to go out into the country. Like you get out of your town, your little city. As soon as you get out of it, it's straight country. So there's a little bit of light pollution, but you can still see quite a few of the stars in the sky. That's why I personally seen three definitive. Yes, I know they were UFOs, but a lot of maybes and stuff like that out there, especially over the lake. Because
Mhm.
where my house was, I just crossed a little road and boom, there was Lake Michigan. So I could look out over the bluff all the time and
Mhm.
see this kind of stuff flying over the lake.
Mhm.
But there's wild stuff, and I'm not the only one in the area. All my family members have seen stuff. All my friends have seen stuff, but
Mhm.
none of us report it. There's no point in that. What, MUFON going to come out and
Mhm.
interview us for a second? Ain't no. Ain't nobody in hillbilly town want to deal with any of that. I saw some in the sky.
That's also something too. Like just because it's a poor side of the city or poor side of the town, and they think that everybody's on drugs and fucking just seeing things up in the sky. And it happens all the time, bro. It happens all the time. You'll be surprised the stories that these people tell you. Fishermen, talking about fishermen. Yo, you said you won something as a championship in fishing.
Oh yeah.
Bring
So
that in, bro. Bring that in, bro.
all right. So in high school, me and my buddy, he was a big fisherman. I fished all the time growing up, but he had the boat, and his dad wanted to be the captain for the team.
Mhm,
So he
mhm,
registered our high school to be a competitive bass fishing team. We went through the FLW and then the
mhm,
BASS.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so we traveled all over Michigan and we fished tournaments from eighth grade to our senior year. We won
mhm.
state championship twice.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah, well, we was carrying it in. That's how I got my nickname, the Big Fish. And because my buddy, he would always fish the front of the boat, so he would be getting the most fish as he do. It's the 2-to-1 ratio. So
Uh-huh.
he
Uh-huh.
would fill us in, make sure we hit our call limit, so we had
Mhm.
enough to take a fat bag. But then I'd swap them all out because I back in the boat taking my time just chilling, and I'd catch the big fish. So his dad was
The
like,
big fish.
he's like, I ain't calling you. He's like, you're not Watson no more. You're Big Fish. And I was like, all
Oh
right, I'll
yeah.
take the promotion. So yeah, we did that. We took this stuff hardcore to the fact that we almost died out on Lake Erie one time.
Whoa, here it is.
Yeah.
Start that story, bro.
All
Please.
right. So it's a beautiful summer morning, like
Mm,
5 o'clock in the morning. The water is absolutely glass. You could not ask for a bigger, better day than to, fish a tournament, especially
mhm,
the state championship.
mhm,
So it was all Michigan waters. We were launching out of Lake St. Clair, just north of Detroit.
mhm,
So the water's glass, the spot we want to go is an hour and a half away, more towards the Ohio border. So
mhm,
we hop in the boat, and it is awesome. We can go 60, 70 miles an hour and not worry about anything.
mhm,
Well, then we're chilling. We're about 45 minutes to an hour in. We're out in the middle of the lake, and my buddy's dad's like, "Hey, boys, uh, we need to watch out for a wet." And before he could even finish saying wave, it felt like we smacked into a brick wall. Boom! Our boat shot down in the water, shot back
uh,
up, shot down, shot back up. I karate chopped about $300 worth of poles. We
Oh
lost
my
probably
God.
we probably lost about $3,000 worth of poles that just flew into the lake. Smashed his brand new troll motor he just bought the day before we headed out there, and we think it was like maybe a boat doing a U-turn, but they was so far off in the horizon, like I don't know if it would make that. So one of the weird things about Lake Erie, yeah, it's not part of the Lake Michigan Triangle. Well, this is still cool because the Great Lakes, man, they all wild.
Yeah.
Is
Word.
there's legends of there's Native American legends of the water panther. We didn't even talk about that last time. But then
Mhm,
there's Bessie, the Lake Erie monster.
mhm,
It's like the Loch Ness monster, but I would
mhm,
relate it more to Champ of Lake Champlain.
mhm,
So my buddy Michael, he's got a book, and he in the Winslow Hoffner, and he was fishing a tournament on Lake Erie, and
mhm,
he actually gets drugged by Bessie, and his boat gets smacked by Bessie and all that. So I was telling him about the story. He's like, "Bro, you ever think that maybe it could have been this sea serpent?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't know. It came out of nowhere. Like I thought we were gonna die. My head
mhm,
smashed against the windshield. My buddy, if me and his dad wouldn't have grabbed each other to make a fence with our arm, he would have
mhm.
flew into the lake and stuff like that. And
Oh God.
we had our life jackets. We were sitting on our life jackets. We weren't wearing them.
Yeah. Yeah. Word.
So,
Word. It happens. Mhm, mhm,
yeah, man. But it's just wild how quick. But that's just an example of how quick stuff can happen out on these Great Lakes. And Lake Erie doesn't even have that many. The wildest thing that happened out there was it caught on fire one time. But as
mhm,
far as like weather patterns and stuff like that, it doesn't have anything as crazy as Lake
mhm,
Michigan.
mhm,
So it's if we did that in a bass boat, who knows what else has happened out here. You add the storms that come out of nowhere, you add all the lake monsters, you add UFOs, and man, we could even talk about the ritual site. that we think. If we want to,
Whoa. Wait,
if we,
there's a ritual site? Okay, so wait, you're connecting a lot of different dots here. You're talking to me about a full-blown energetic field, bro. This is what I like to call a portal bed, because a lot of things, a lot of I want to say entities lay here.
mm-hmm,
Bessie, you have rituals now where people are practicing magic. Then you have a great body of water, great bodies of water, right? Because the other lake right around the corner, that one also. What's the name of the other lake that has a lot of deaths on it? You mentioned also last time.
Lake Superior.
Okay, so the Lake Superior is another one that I was looking at, and all in combined, it has a lot more deaths and shipwrecks all combined than the Bermuda Triangle, which is one of those freaking places that people still can't explain. I was gonna ask you before we jump into the ritual site. Um, did your instruments work? Did your compass work? Did electronics, computers?
Yeah, I mean everything was working fine. It was just, we had our fish finders with the GPS navigation and all that stuff. That stuff was working. It was working fine, but it came out of nowhere. Like we were anticipating maybe if this boat did something a long time ago, like a wave, but a tiny little wave. I mean, yeah, we're going super quick, but the
Yo,
water.
but your engine, bro, to go. No, you had a slam. Did you guys check the rotors or anything?
No, the troll motor was smashed. The back engine was as fine as it could be. We thought we were gonna have to get towed. We thought we were gonna have to call it, and we're like, man, whatever. We I guess we have to forfeit from the tournament. But my buddy's dad, he went and started working on the engine, and he got it rocking and rolling. So we're like, he's like, you want to quit, or want to keep on going? And we're like, we want to win. This is our last chance to win this title
Did you
again.
guys win?
Oh yeah, we won.
Oh, fuck!
Yeah,
That
dude.
was the good luck charm, bro. That was Bessie blessing you, bro.
Dude, I caught the nastiest fish I've ever caught out there, man. It was this almost 5 pound, 12 ounce. Got hit with a boat propeller, smallmouth bass, dude. They had a chunk out of it. It was the most badass looking fish I ever seen. And and we were like, all right, there's the big fish. And dude, it was worth it. Like it was a great day of fishing. God definitely blessed us that day. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's beautiful, bro. That's a beautiful way to end that story, because it would have been shame that you guys quit. It would have been a shame that you guys quit or even lost. But it gives to say if you stick it through, bro. If your hard work pays off, big dog.
It does. And the funny thing is the whole time. So it was a series. So it was 4 lakes across the state. We had different weekends. We had to go, and it was combined points of every day. We never got first place any day. We got third place every single day. But the guys that got first place and stuff like that, they would get last place on another lake. So we just stayed consistent the whole time, and we were always only just a tiny bit from second and first place.
Trying to be that you guys were meant to be the first placers, bro.
Oh yeah,
Winners.
dude. Yeah. I
But
mean, when you win fishing, you don't get big old parades and stuff like that for football, but we
yeah.
we got our faces in some of the bait shops and stuff like that to this day in town.
That's freaking awesome, dude. You couldn't ask for anything else, bro. You're a local celebrity. So you told me about ritual places.
Yes.
Talk to me about that, dude. What is it?
All right. So one of the places is a little outside of the Lake Michigan Triangle, but man, I don't believe these things are completely contained to these geographic lines that we make. They can go outside of them a little bit. So, are you familiar with the Lake Michigan Stonehenge?
You told me about it last time, but it would be great if you bring it back in.
All right. I couldn't remember if I brought it up last time or not. So, the Lake Michigan Stonehenge, it kind of looks like the Stonehenge that they got out in Europe, but it's completely under the lake. It's out west of Traverse City, a little southwest of Traverse City, and down there is these monoliths of stone pillars stacked in a circle and stuff like that. There's petroglyphs of mammoths as well down there, like paintings. So this stuff had to be there before the glaciers carved out the lakes. So there was something out there, but just the whole Great Lakes Basin area, just there's so much stuff that goes around it because you got Chicago, you got Gary, you got Michigan City, you got Benton Harbor, you got all these big cities going up the coast of Michigan, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. Oh, Scarface, Al Capone himself used to mob around there. There's
Mm-hmm.
tons of human trafficking and stuff back in the day. Going back to the Al Capone, they had the bootlegging and speakeasies all along the line. Apparently, I got family that used to know Al Capone and stuff like that way back in the day. Eh,
Yo,
yeah,
so just to bring in some a more gravity into this submerged Stonehenge. The structure has been discovered in Lake Michigan, specifically in Grand Traverse Bay. Archaeologists, including Dr. Mark Holley, have found a formation of stones, including one of with a potential of carving a mastodon believed to be around 9,000 years old. The structure is located about 4 feet below the surface. Whoa. It says it has lines of stones, some quite large, up to 3,000 pounds, forming a hexagon. Hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. And at the end, it says, this is from islands.com. It's estimated to be 9,000 years old, and it's predating Stonehenge, like in Europe, Stonehenge by 4,000 years old
yeah,
years. So it's older. What the fuck? Why is nobody talking about this? There's potential
dude.
carvings, markings depicting a mastodon. The possible purpose could be theories range from hunting blind and herding caribou to a spiritual site similar to Stonehenge. Whoa.
Yeah, like I can see it being like a kill circle, a hunting thing, but if you know anything about Stonehenge, there's a lot of spiritual stuff that happens there with it lining up with the equinoxes and solstices and stuff like that. And dude, this area is just weird, man. Like there's a lot of stuff. You go to Wisconsin, there's a lot of stuff. You got the Michigan, man. You got stuff like the Dog Man and stuff like that. And I believe a lot of those are paranormal. I
I
think
think
those are
that
spirit.
freaking portal bed is still open. I think
Oh,
that portal bed is still open. No one's really closed it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's not coincidence. I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I do not believe in coincidences. Sorry, but what I do know is that you got crazy weather patterns. You got the Bessies, you got the murders, you got not the murders, the disappearances, shipwrecks, the airplane crashes, and then you have a freaking Stonehenge that's older than Stonehenge himself itself. It's a recipe for danger and cryptozoologists. I'm thinking
Hmm.
people should be out there investigating these sites a lot more.
Oh yeah. I agree. And I'm working on it. It'll come in the future. I want to go to a lot of these locations out there. Like I don't think it'd be too hard to get a boat out right above the Stonehenge out there. You know, drop a underwater camera or anything like that. Get some like firsthand views of it. But dude, it's crazy, man. So there's a lot of cults and stuff too that came along the coastline too. So it's like you said, there's open portals everywhere, man. And that goes if we want to start transitioning towards UFOs, that
Mm-hmm.
that goes into some of the stuff. I actually last time we spoke, I didn't even mention some of the stuff that was told to me by a couple of my real good buddies that have no interest in this kind of stuff. They were just like, "Hey, Riley, this sounds like something you might want to hear," or "Hey, look at this series of pictures that I took." So, um, I think I'll talk about the Captain Donner real quick because that'll kind of tie into it. I'm not
Okay.
all right. So this takes place on a cold night of April 28th, 1937. Great Lakes freighter, the O.S. McFarland. So
Mhm.
basically, this plant, this sorry about that, this
That's all
freighter
good.
is trying to get from, I believe it was Buffalo. All right. So Erie, Pennsylvania. Sorry about that.
Mhm.
Erie, Pennsylvania
Mhm.
to a port in Wisconsin.
Mhm.
So Captain Donner, he's got his whole crew, all this cool stuff.
Mhm.
It's a pretty easy route once you get past the Straits of Mackinac. Uh,
Mhm.
pretty seasoned dude. He's been
Mhm.
captain for a while, so he gets through the real difficult part of the journey, the Straits. They got the icebergs and everything going through. If anybody's been to the UP in the winter, crossing the Mackinac Bridge. Dude, there's giant chunks of ice down there. It's nasty. It's
In the
beautiful.
lake?
Yeah, it's beautiful to look
Holy
at,
fuck! Look at that. Okay.
but it gets pretty dangerous down there. And the bridge, if you got balls of steel, I highly suggest like right before the weather's bad enough to close the bridge down, hop on that thing, and you'll get to watch it sway everywhere.
Whoa.
I used to do that in a little Toyota Matrix, and my car would be blowing all over the bridge, and everybody's freaking out. And I'm like, this is fun. But yeah, so it can get a pretty nasty area. So, the dude's probably high stressed. And he's like, all right, we got through this. I trust you guys. It should only take a couple hours till we get to Wisconsin. He's like, I'm gonna go retreat to my cabin and take a nap. So he lets his first and second mates know what's up. So he goes there and he's like, wake me up when we get close. So that way I can be awake and alert.
I remember this. Yes.
So he goes and retreats to the cabin. And like his first and second mate are supposed to, they get close. And they decide, hey, let's go wake up the captain. So they start knocking on his door. No response, no nothing. All right. Anybody got a key? Nah, we gotta go grab it. They start asking people, hey, have you guys seen the captain? No. Well, they get the key, they open up the door. Boom, the captain's not in there. The only way the captain could have got out is through a tiny little porthole, but that doesn't seem from
Possible.
what I've read. It's not something that a grown man can get through. It's just a little viewing port. So they go around, ask everybody. Then they start suspecting people of mutiny. They're like, no, we ain't got no reason to. It's not like they're going on a transatlantic trip that's months and months long. No, dude, it's like a 2-day trip, if that. So they can't find him anywhere. They send, once again, search parties out to kind of look for this dude places. Never find him. There's no traces of him, whatever. But people, I believe I read somewhere, reported seeing lights and stuff in the sky. But I personally think this dude got abducted out of there. There's no way this dude disappears whatsoever. So many UFO sightings over the lake, man.
Is there any traces of this guy being connected to the occult? Anything?
I have not looked into that. That might be something I should do. I don't know. I don't. I want to think the best in people and say probably not, but you never know.
You'll be surprised. You'll
Yeah.
be surprised. Yeah. You're crazy. It's a crazy world out there, bro. And back then it was easier to get away with murder than it is now. So it's a dangerous game that these guys were playing, or at least he was playing probably. Maybe not a cult, but how was the weather back then for that scenario? Was it really like what triggered it? Was it a full moon? Was it a more larger magnetic field that night?
Yeah, well, it's in the middle of April. We still get snow in Michigan in the middle of April. It's not uncommon whatsoever. Even early May, if we still get a little bit. So it could have been stuff like that, but the dude disappeared with absolutely no trace, and just from everything else that's happened there, like to make reference to the flight, Northwest 2501, very, very famous plane crash. You can find it. Destination, not just Expedition Unknown, Josh Gates, his show on Travel Channel. They did a whole thing about it. It's worth watching, like some documentary on it. But basically, this plane just flies. It's in communication with everything. Then it just turns into a ghost plane. They find remains, people, bodies, and stuff like that wash on shore. But they don't really think that anything happens to this plane. So weird stuff like this happens all the time over the lake, and nobody really talks about it. I mean, the first two things that we've talked about off this took place in the 30s. And then you can't find anything until you get into like the 90s. So there's this whole giant gap of stuff that's happening in there. And to refer back to the numbers that you talked about at the beginning, the amount of accidents, disappearances, deaths, everything that's happened out there, that just doesn't add up to me. So I think a lot of these stories and stuff, obviously there's some that we just won't know, like natural, but I think there's stuff out there that's happening to where there's no survivors or anything, no wreckage left, to where we're
No
not
documentation. Yeah,
Exactly.
and no one's documenting what's happening. So it's a lot more than what we really acknowledge. You know
Mhm.
what, bro? Towards the end of this show already, guys. The last time we spoke, it didn't go this well. I'm really happy that you freaking killed it, bro. You give a nudge, you give a little taste of what you bring on your show. The last time we spoke, we did bring something. However, we did bring that there is mounds surrounding this place. Mounds, and I like to say,
Mhm.
mounds are Nephilim technology. Then you have a lot of haunted places, haunted lighthouses, haunted mansions, haunted places where they may be also introducing some type of magic and over the Michigan lakes. And it's if you put it all together, anywhere and everywhere that you see these four combinations, all these elements all combining at the same time, there's something evil happening and or being hidden from the mass public. So if anybody has any more questions, and I know you have a lot more research to go through, bro.
Oh yeah.
If anybody has any questions on the last few minutes of the show, where can people find you?
All right, so you can find me on Instagram. That's probably the best place to get a hold of me,
Mm,
at Midwest Mythos, or you can check out my link tree, linktr.ee/ Midwest Mythos podcast. There, dude, you'll be able to find everything. There's my YouTube on there. I
mm,
got I got the links to the main podcast. So your Amazon, your Spotify, your Apple are on there. Everything else you can find like Podbean, all that good stuff. I'm out there too. But
mm,
the heavy hitting three, you can find me in that link tree. And I
mm,
even have a form on there that send if you just type in is the report an encounter. It doesn't gotta be an encounter. If you just want to get a hold of me, just type in there. Sends all
mm,
your information to me, sends a little notification to my computer, and we can
mm,
start chatting from there. And if there's somewhere else that you would prefer to talk, then
mm,
over email we can make that happen and stuff. But yeah,
mm.
there's all kinds of stuff like this Lake Michigan Triangle on the show, and
Yeah,
a lot of these little tidbits that this was just the surface of the barrel. There's so much
yeah,
more out
yeah.
there.
Hmm.
It's There's a lot, man, and I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out as much as I can in my life and set the people up, set some people up under my wing one day to continue this. And I want to figure it out.
Bro, and you're in the prime not only spot to do it, but in the prime age to do it,
Mhm.
and then also in the prime time to do it. Why?
Yes.
It's because there's never been a time for people. There's never been a time and the thirst this big where people want this information. Believe it, bro. We're the mainstream, dude. We
Yeah.
control the industry. I kind of sound like P Diddy saying that shit to the hip hop and the music industry. Believe it or not, bro, we're the news, bro. We're the ones that bring this information to the people. There's people now more broadcasting podcasts and listening to podcasts than there is people tuning into CNN or any other mainstream media channel for that matter. So I think you're doing a great job out there. And please keep me in the loop. We're gonna bring you back on the show later on to bring in more stories, and hopefully we can have a couple other dudes and just have a big cryptid talk. I myself saw it now, so I wish one day I'm gonna tell you that story. And I'm a big cryptid guy too, bro. Believe it. Paranoid Radio is not only about conspiracies and politicians. It's mostly about the unnatural and the unnormal, and what makes you cry at night and cringe your teeth when you're nervous and gives you anxiety at 1,000%. So I love these conversations, and this time you came around, bro, and you freaking owned it. You owned it, bro. Good stuff. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, brother. It was a
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, check out Ryley from the Midwest Mythos podcast. I like to call him Mythos. That's his nickname from now on my show. And make sure you check out Mythos on the description of the show and check us out at paranoidradio.com. Go to the Instagram and guys, interact with him, engage. If you like the story, make sure you interact with him. If you have more information that he probably missed today, hit him up and tell him what you think. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts because that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out. That was good. I love it.